We often think of Jack Sparrow or Blackbeard when we think of pirates, but piracy is a general phenomenon. Centuries before Blackbeard's birth, pirates pillaged the archipelagos of ancient Greece, and centuries after his death would modern pirates watch Liam Neeson's The Commuter with Vietnamese subtitles. As timeless as pirates have been, the golden age of Caribbean pirates, like Blackbeard, Calico Jack, and the whole gang, takes place from the end of the 17th century through the middle of the 18th century. The primary reason why hundreds of pirate crews dotted the Atlantic and Indian Oceans during this time was because colonies were growing and accumulating wealth faster than mother countries could send governors and military personnel. This golden age offered a career that was much more efficient and lucrative than honest work. As you can imagine, those who'd become pirates weren't doing so well for themselves. The penury and austerity of life aboard naval or merchant vessels drove sailors to piracy, if any found employment at all, as many had nothing to do after resolving Atlantic conflicts between England and France. Ordinary life in mother countries was no better. England witnessed a time of intense competition that left modest farmers at the mercy of powerful landowners and crushed small merchants under the weight of big businesses. Between years-long apprenticeships barring the path to genuine careers and few opportunities to travel, England's poorest citizens had virtually no opportunities to improve their lives, besides something as drastic as piracy. Pirates did what they had to do, and during the golden age of piracy, they'd absolutely get away with it. Even those who were lucky enough to serve as privateers with their own ships would betray the crown to become pirates. Infamous Captain Stede Bonnet abandoned his plantation in Barbados to become a pirate, and he died. He could have chilled out in Barbados, and he chose death. Doubloons had become an archaic version of cryptocurrency, offering a get-rich-quick scheme that literally worked. Regardless of poverty, this unlikely opportunity attracted colonists and citizens from all walks of life. But what were pirates actually like? First of all, only the most infamous captains had the whole getup. People weren't walking around with eye patches and peg legs or lighting beards on fire. As a side note, eye patches didn't cover injuries. Sailors of all kinds used them to keep one eye permanently adjusted to the darkness below deck. Most pirates looked no different from other sailors. Hoisting the Jolly Roger was often the only way to tell other mariners how dangerous you were. So, pirates would strategically withhold their intentions by flying an inoffensive national flag before coming close enough to board other vessels. Fiction would have you believe that pirate ships were functionally identical to more official ships, but most pirates opted for little sloops and schooners to navigate shallows, catch weaker opponents in traversals more easily, and maneuver away from stronger pursuers as quickly as possible. Again, infamous pirates had big ships, but most crews didn't have such power. Most heists went like this. The guy in the crow's nest would spot a small ship with the least protective equipment. The pirates would approach the ship and hoist whatever Jolly Roger they'd fashioned. Each crew put its own spin on the Jolly Roger, but the idea was to tell merchants to play nice. Pirates wanted money, not your life. They certainly prepared for fights with everything from grenades and pistols to cutlasses and axes, but they avoided using weapons in an effort to protect the goods and keep the target vessel intact. Recall the chain shots from Assassin's Creed 4. Connecting two adjacent cannonballs with a chain to sever sails was a real practice as indispensable for other pirates as it was for Edward Kenway. Also, because pirates came mostly from modest backgrounds, the target vessel was part of the booty. If the other ship was a similar one, in better condition, or an upgrade, the crew would jack it, and this is how little bands of rebels ultimately got their hands on behemoths like the Queen Anne's Revenge. Otherwise, collecting actual money was always more convenient for pirates than selling intermediate valuables upon reaching port. Easily sellable items included gemstones, tobacco, molasses, tea, and rum. Whether pirates were earning wealth from coins or selling goods, we're not talking about chump change. A single haul could be worth tens of millions of modern US dollars. To manage the treasury and make sure every individual pirate earned a fair share, Adewale or another quartermaster would do the math. After heists, many crews would return to Nassau, as we see in Black Flag, but other popular pirate hangouts included Tortuga, New Providence, and even Madagascar. These locations were close enough to potential victims without being too close to military vessels from mother countries. These havens were also safe places for pirates to sell valuables in exchange for merchants buying the goods at lower prices, after which those merchants would proceed to legitimate ports to resell the stolen goods at higher prices. By the 1730s, European justice systems had caught up with our pirate crews, no matter how powerful those crews were. Along with ruthless governors, the Crown sent the Navy not only to deal with pirates, but to make an example of them, and turn them against each other with bounties. When the golden age of piracy was finally complete, every pirate was dead or had settled for honest work, like Edward Kenway. This golden age teaches us about what common people wanted and strove toward, but what were the goals of mother countries? Before Christopher Columbus reached and named Hispaniola in December of 1492, countless Taino and Siboney principalities had been fishing, farming cassava, and exporting artisanal goods such as jewelry or pottery for a couple thousand years. Historians estimate that as few as 100,000 or as many as several million Native Americans lived on the island when Columbus's arrival heralded mostly Spanish pillaging and a touch of French piracy. Over the next few decades after this initial voyage, the Spanish would enslave all of these natives to mine the island's uncannily rich gold deposits. If you were among these slaves, and smallpox didn't kill you, brutal working conditions certainly would, such that by 1600, the Taino and Siboney had nearly vanished. With no people to enslave and no further gold to mine, the Spanish gradually lost interest in the island. However, this devastating resource extraction took place primarily on the eastern half of the island, reflecting today's border between Haiti and the Dominican Republic. The western half's story, along with Adewale's, would begin momentarily. While the gold-digging Spaniards were pillaging the main island, French pirates began to take refuge in satellite islands off the west coast of Hispaniola. In turn, this attracted European privateers. Privateers paved the path for legitimate British and French settlements. Settlements allowed for the establishment of plantations, and plantations required labor that the West African slave trade could provide. By the end of the 1600s, 5,000 Africans were tending farms in French settlements across the western half of Hispaniola. Finally, uncomfortable competition among colonial powers led to 1697's Treaty of Rijswijk, which officially ceded the western third of Hispaniola from Spanish to French government. French colonists would call their home Saint-Domingue, and it would become France's most lucrative colony, if not the most lucrative colony in the Americas, exporting coffee, cacao, indigo, and cotton on top of good old sugar. Saint-Domingue owed its profound profits to all of the slavery fueling the plantations that nearly covered the region. Meanwhile, slavery didn't only hurt people, it also hurt the island. The Spanish started this trend by bringing invasive species in the form of horses, pigs, and cows the island had never seen, and France's eventual overfarming would destroy a lot of the soil across the island. Europeans of the time didn't know a whole lot about the environment, so this overall decline in the quality of land caused profits to plateau and slave purchases to rise. By 1789, Saint-Domingue's slaves outnumbered colonists 10-1. This outnumbering coincided with and culminated in the Haitian Revolution, one of the only revolutions in which slaves completely overwhelmed their oppressors with little to no assistance. Zack Snyder's at it again, I'm telling you. With Saint-Domingue in disarray, the British and Spanish tried to steal a slice of the pie, but under Toussaint Louverture's leadership, Haiti staged a successful defense against them too. Even when Napoleon returned to take back the island, he couldn't hold on for more than a few years. Once dying from starvation, tropical diseases, and orthopedic injuries, those who used to be slaves remained in charge of the country until the modern day. We'll continue this discussion of the New World in the next video, but we're going to focus on North America instead, examining the French and Indian War as portrayed by Shay Patrick Cormac's story in Rogue, as well as the American Revolution as portrayed by both Eveline de Grandpré story in Liberation, and, of course, Radonake Don Connor Kenway's story in Assassin's Creed 3.